Supertwin frame, all been Cerakoted by Kotec. Done an absolute fantastic job. We've gone with a two-tone sort of gunmetal grey subframe with a nice flat back black swing arm and frame. So really excited to start a build on the Twin. 8 weeks I've got to get this thing from how she sits at the minute to our first road race in Hengelo. Welcome to my crib. So here she is, the NCE Racing Z650 Supertwin, ready to race. Gotta have the brew. Gotta have the brew on the go. Never mind some treats. So, last time I was on, we were at Kotec picking up the frame, swing arm, subframe, etc. from being Cerakoted. And yeah, the difference is unbelievable. So, since then, the forks and the shock have been away to Mark Arnott at Moto Shocks. Big shout out Mark, keeping the job right and getting everything serviced up and making sure everything's good to go. So that is how far we are on. We've had new bearings in the headstock, new bearings in the swing arm. So yeah, first round is 44 days away. So the plan of attack is get this up to rolling chassis stage and get over to Frank Raffles, where Ian has been busy working his magic on our Supertwin engines. So I'm excited to see how we get on with all that. Hopefully get away in the next couple of weeks, so if we do have any problems, fingers crossed we don't, we can get it sorted and it doesn't leave everything lastminute.com. And here's the 600. Back from Spain, forks out, straight over to Richard at Maxton. He's sorting them out for us, just giving them a once over and doing the seals on them for us. And then once we're back from Raffles, we'll get these pair all wrapped up. See, this is the difference. The existing fairing bracket being Cerakoted. Which one looks better? Now some people might call this anal, or what the fuck are you doing that for on a ditch pump or a Supertwin or whatever. It's just a race bike, but it's our race bike. And if a job's worth doing, and you're going to go to all that effort getting everything else recoated and blasted and whatnot else, then spend time getting the bits that are going to be noticed done. So this idiot either forgot his GoPro or forgot to put it on charge on numerous occasions. So things have progressed quite a lot since the last time I had the GoPro on the bike. So a lot of hours, a lot of time and effort gone into the job so far. We're that close to putting her in the van and getting over to FW Developments to get an engine put in, and then have Frank get it on the dyno and work his magic. So yeah, this is where she's up to. And to point out the obvious, yes, I know she needs tyres. She's not going to go very far on rims, is she? But yeah, that's where we're up to. It's been a lot of late nights this week, to say the least. But it's all the better for it. It really is. So ignore all this, carry on with duct tape. It's engineering's finest. It's just to hold it in place for the time being. But basically this week, the whole loom's been taken back, rewrapped with proper Tessa tape, which is proper wiring harness tape. It's all been sort of routed. There's so much, I can't really do much more until we get an engine in and see exactly where wires are going to sit properly and stuff. But yeah, it took a little bit of time to get everything routed properly, neat, tidy, so there's no chance of anything rubbing. And famous last words that, because we had a problem last year at the Southern 100 with a wire rubbing through on top of the engine. But yeah, the wheels for me are going to make this thing. That combined with the newly coated frame and subframe and stuff, I think it's going to look the dog's bollocks myself when it's all done and dusted. So previously we had a crankcase breather that come out of the top of the engine up here, and then we had it coming down into a little overflow bottle, which basically just zipped out onto the side of the frame. This is the way it was when we got the bike. Never really seen much wrong with it. It done a job and that was it. But we had an issue last year at the Northwest where this pipe come out of the top of the bottle, and it essentially was blowing like a dead fine mist all over my boot, which caused me a bit of a problem. So after humming and hawing and didn't really know what to do, kind of just decided to get fucking rid of that. And I spent probably too long with a glue gun and some cardboard making up a new expansion bottle. And it literally is just a little catchment bottle that if any oil comes out of said pipe, it's got somewhere to go safe and yeah, not all over my boot. So decided to try and make something that was going to sort of sit up in here, out of the road, out of the way, something neat, tidy. Now I'm no engineering genius, and although I'm a welder, fabricator by trade, doesn't mean I'm very good at it. But that was what we come up with as a finished product. So it's kind of gone from that to that. And you know what? I'm pretty bloody impressed with it, if I say so myself. So as you can see, it sits now pretty neatly, out of the way, looks good as well, looks better than that bottle. And essentially that breather pipe's gonna go on there like that and then loop round into the top of the engine. But that needs to be changed. That looks a bit rough. It's too big. But apart from that, pretty impressed with my handiwork there, to be fair. But it's like anything, you know, these Supertwins, they're not like a super sport bike that's sat there looking sorry for itself at the minute, by the way. Is obviously a bike that comes out of the factory as a sports bike. It's a specifically built sports bike. Whereas these things, as you can see, pretty much everything on them is aftermarket. You don't keep a whole lot off the original bike that you first buy. Hence why they have varied nicknames like ditch pumps and shopping trolleys or pizza delivery bikes or courier bikes, because that's essentially what they are. That's what they've come out of the factory to do. And they do give a ridiculous amount of trouble when they want to. When they're going right and everything's good, they are probably the most enjoyable class, in my opinion, to racing, because you can just have so much fun on them. But they're not the most reliable of things. Now, I don't know the exact figures of what one of these comes out of the factory as a standard bike, but you're essentially taking something that is, I think they're either a low 70 to mid 70 brake horsepower bike, and you're bringing that up to anywhere from 95 brake horsepower onwards. So you're asking a lot of an engine that was never ever produced to do anything like that. Combine that with all the changes you got to make to them, that's why they're so unreliable. But we obviously try and build them now in a way that they're as bulletproof as feasibly possible. But look, I'm hoping after all the time, effort and money that we've put into this girl this year, we won't have an ounce of trouble on it, especially compared to 2023 when it broke our heart from start to finish. But it's motorbike racing. Nothing's ever plain sailing, is it? Now, I know I look like I've not slept in 4 or 5 days, or showered for that matter, or had a shave. 2 out of them 3 things are true. But yeah, I do look like a bit of a scruff at the minute, don't I? I do need a shave. And I'm dirty because I've been working today. And some of you might find that very hard to believe, but yes, I do work for a living. So, where do I start? Every plan that we've had over the last 3 weeks to get everything finished, engines fitted, engines dynoed, and bikes wrapped, all of that has gone out the window time after time after time again. So I've gotten to a point where I'm just taking day by day. One person or one thing lets you down or doesn't arrive on time, and that's it. Job's fucked. Job's out the window. And I've got stressed about it, and I've got worked up about it, and it's just not worth it. It takes a lot for me to get stressed out, but yeah, when you're trying so hard to get everything to run smoothly and work to a bit of a time frame, it doesn't happen. It doesn't happen. So we are on the boat 3 weeks Wednesday to Anglo. The current, and I'll use that very, 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 very loosely, the current sort of plan of attack is to be at FW Developments on Monday, a week today, to get engines fitted into this Supertwin, with 2 engines fitted and dynoed, and a 600, which you can see over there, that needs a top end refresh and another head putting on it. But in the meantime, I need to get these 2 bikes to wrap. So they should have been there 3 or 4 days ago, but we're still waiting on stuff. We're still waiting on fairings. So hopefully DHL pull their finger out and get them to us tomorrow, which means I can get the bikes to wrap. They'll be with them guys for maybe 4 days, get everything back, load up the lorry, which I must add isn't being serviced at the minute, and straight across the UK. And yeah, more hard work ahead when we land over there. FW Developments, getting engines swapped and getting everything dynoed, ran in, make sure everything's okay before we hit Henglo. So, a couple of things to bring you up to speed with. I can't remember how they looked the last time we seen them, but that's where we're up to. Basically just missing an engine and fairings. And it sounds like a lot, but the hard work's done, thankfully. So, we had a nice little delivery off these guys, Hell Performance, and they've hooked us up with a new underslung rear caliper and a full set of lines for the Supertwin. So a huge shout out to Steve over at Hell for sorting us out with all the new shiny engineering porn parts that we got off them guys. Some more little bits and pieces there as well for the 600, which I'll show you all at a later date. So that is pretty much where we're up to. There's not a lot else I can do with it until it gets back from wrap and gets ready to go to Frank's. Finally. What a fucking nightmare. Where do I even start? Definitely got a couple of greys hanging about under that hat after that week. Things went from bad to worse, and just when you think you've had everything thrown at you and everybody's let you down and so on and so forth, it just got worse and worse and worse. And I'm glad I can sort of sit back and laugh about it now, even though after stuff's not rectified. But look, we're on the road. I say a slight change of plan. I was actually meant to be on the way to the boat now in the lorry, fully loaded, to go to FW Developments to get engines fitted to the Supertwin, dynoed, and some engine work finished off with the Honda, and get that dynoed as well. The plan from there was then obviously to go to the first round at Henglo, with a couple of days rest in between. There's been a couple of people this week that have proper let me down, and it's basically pushed everything around a little bit. So I'm in the van now, as you can see, off to the boat. Frank raffles tomorrow. I'll be there for as long as it takes to get things sorted. Obviously Frank will be away to Alton Park for BSB this coming weekend, so yeah, I've got about 4 days to get everything done. But if all goes to plan, it should only be a couple of days. Then it's back home, transfer everything into the lorry, make sure we've got everything, and hit the road for round 1 of the International Road Racing Championships at Hengelo in Holland. So, will it all go to plan? Will it all tie together on the final hurdle? So here's a laugh for you. Should have been on a 10:30 boat that gets into Liverpool in the morning. Gets a check-in and they said, oh sorry Mr. Williams, check-in shut 3 minutes ago, so we can't let you on the boat. So I've been transferred over to get the boat to Scotland, and then I've got a 3.5 hour drive on the other side. Fucking brilliant. Just puts the icing on an absolute bastard of a week. Morning. Coffee from possibly the best services on the M6, T-Bay, where I also got my head down for a couple of hours after the shit show of a job last night of having to get the boat to Carmryan. Anyway, we're 10-15 minutes from Frank's, so bit of driving them through the night. Got my head down on the boat for a couple of hours, and then managed to grab a couple of hours in the services as well. I knew there's a reason why I carry my sleeping bag and a pillow in the van. So for anybody that thinks going motorbike racing or anything to do with motorbikes in general is an easy task, think again. And if you're thinking about getting involved in motorbike racing, be prepared for sleeping in the backs of vans. Get prepared for unplanned overnight stays in backs of vans and sleeping bags. But hey ho, could be worse. Yeah. That's her. Engine out, head change to a Vanson Hines CNC'd head, courtesy of FW Developments. So it's time to get her on the dyno, see what she does. Well, that's been a mammoth couple of days. 2 engines fitted and dynoed the Supertwin. Engine removed from the 600, head changed, new one built, refitted, back in the bike and dynoed. So I think since yesterday morning I've spent about 28 hours on the bikes. But they're all done. I'm a happy man. Much better. The bikes are pretty much exactly where we wanted them and where we need them to be. So massive shout out to Ian at FW Developments for all his hard work and building his 3 fantastic motors, and obviously then to Frank and all the guys at Dyno Jet UK for putting the hours in over the last couple of days on the dyno and running motors in and getting things exactly where we need them. So no, can't thank them all enough for all the help and the support and everything. Get in touch with FW Developments. They are your number one-stop shop for everything you need for tuning, engine builds, refreshes, dyno work, power commander. So yeah, hit them up. Another early start, 5 o'clock up this morning or something daft, but on the road home, heading for the boat. So yeah, home this afternoon, get the van offloaded, get the bikes on the bench, get them checked over, get them all dressed up, and then start getting the lorry loaded and ready to hit the road again in a few days' time. Yeah, busy few days, productive few days. But we're all done. I'll be glad to see my own bed, to be fair. But massive shout out to John and Christine Bridges for putting us up over the last few days. Very, very kind of them. Very, very good of them as well. They've looked after us and fed and watered me for the last few days. So it was nice to see them and have a catch up with them as well. Surely I'm not the only one that gets to a point where you think to yourself, what the fuck am I doing? You get lost in it all and you almost forget why you're doing it. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, I can't be the only person out there that gets disheartened. And also, what I've found, no matter how hard I try and organise everything over the winter time, so everything will pull together at the right time, so it doesn't bottleneck like it fucking has done this year and last year. No matter how hard I try to organise the job, every time it gets to 2 to 3 weeks before we're due to go away for round 1 and everything falls to shit. But it's all part of it, isn't it? You know what I mean? You can't let it defeat you. It's like no surrender. You gotta keep fighting, keep going. And there you have it. All finished. All them hours of hard work and late nights in the garage, and everybody from Kotec Cerakote to Mark at Moto Shocks, Frank at Dyno Jet UK, Ian Park at FW Developments, and everybody else in between. That's the finish art. May I just add as well, this isn't how we wanted the bikes doing from a wrapping perspective. So that's a long story, that, which I'm not going to go into right now, but they will be getting re-wrapped again next month properly and how we wanted them after Schleitz. So yeah, and then there's our CBR 600 all finished as well. So lots of time, effort, money, late nights, early mornings gone into getting both these bikes exactly where we wanted them for the 2024 season. But as always, we wouldn't be going motorbike racing without all our loyal sponsors. From everybody that's joined us for 2024 to existing sponsors from past, none of it would be possible without you. So just a huge thanks to everybody that's jumped on board with us, and obviously everybody in the 92 club as well. So it's load up time, and then we're getting the boat tomorrow across the UK, and then on to Hull to Rotterdam. And that, folks, is all she wrote. Fully loaded. Let's hit the road. Next stop, Henglo.